Another great day as we celebrate the completion of really 3 projects that have occurred in the city in the last several years. The Crossroads, the SR522 Stage 2A project, and the first phase of the Boulevard. These 3 projects represent about $72 million of public investments that are designed to generate and leverage far greater returns from private capital, and they were completed with the concept of the return on investment being over $650 million in our downtown. And already we're proud to boast that the city's strategic investments have already created over $200 million in private investment in our downtown. So it's quite a remarkable accomplishment. Thank you very much. The city recently adopted its new capital facilities plan last week, or earlier this week, and that has public investments that are prioritized over a 7-year period that represent over $226 million of funding, and over half of that funding is from sources outside of the city. And so again, it's another great accomplishment and testament to the work of our council and our staff to really leverage our own dollars with other sources of funding outside of the city. Today we have some individuals that I want to recognize and thank who helped immensely as we moved all 3 of these projects forward. And so if you can simply maybe raise your hand as they announce your name. But we have representing Senator Murray's office, Ann Seabot. Thank you. Tommy Baer, who's representing Senator Cantwell. And Julian Lowe, who's representing Representative DeBenny's office. Also joining us, we have our state senator, Rosemary McAuliffe. Bothell's Representative Luis Moscosco. King County Council Member Rod Dombrowski. And we have our own council members here, of course. Mayor Joshua Freed, you'll be hearing about from just a moment. We have Deputy Mayor Del Spivey. Councilmember Bill Evans. And Councilmember Tris Sandberg. We also have a number of people who also are going to be speaking today. I want to recognize Ted Carlson from the Public Works Board's here, and you'll be hearing from him in just a moment. Steve Gorcester from the Transportation Improvement Board is also going to be speaking today. But some other folks I want to recognize that you won't be hearing from, but nonetheless have contributed remarkably to these projects. Ed Conyers from Washington State Department of Transportation. I'm not sure if Jerome Cruz from the Washington State Department of Ecology is here today, but the Washington State Department of Ecology has contributed greatly in terms of our cleanup efforts in the downtown. Julia Vong from one of our consultants from HBB. We have Jim Howard from HBB. Jolene Gilly from HWA, Environmental Sciences, as well as Arnie Sugar from the same firm. Other consultants, Nandez Miller from KPG, Dan Hansen from the Petite. And I want to finish with acknowledging and thanking some of our staff who worked so tirelessly on all these projects. And certainly there's more individuals that have worked on these projects than the ones I'm going to mention, but these are the key individuals. And first is Aaron Lanehart, our Public Works Director. Stephen Morikawa, who is our Capital Program Manager. Jason Torrey is our Project Engineer of the SR522 project. And Ryan Roberts, who's been working on our Crossroads project. So thank you for your patience in allowing me to recognize and thank these individuals who have been so critical to our success. And now I want to introduce one of Bothell's great leaders who's been a part of all of these projects since day one, and that's our Mayor Joshua Freed.
Thank you, sir. I always love following up with Bob. That was quite a long list of people. We should have just had everybody stand and be recognized, which is true in Bothell. We have a high level of community involvement. So we find when we have a project that we're considering, people come out, address council, part of the process, let their ideas be heard. We like to take those in and then have them reflected. And where we're standing right now, we've obviously all seen the impacts of some of those conversations. 12 years ago, I served on the Citizen Advisory Board for the realignment of 522. So 12 years later, here we are. We all drove in on 522 today and had no ability to not see the wonderful new project that we have in front of us. So many people in this room contributed to that vision. I remember coming out of that process and meeting with the board. Pat Parkhurst is here, who is on that committee as well, and several others that I'm not seeing here today, but I'm sure that they've been impacted by their vision. But the consultants at the time said, dream big, and let's just come up with something that you would think potentially would be impossible. So when we came out of that, we came with the vision of the realignment of 522, and really, I think, was a great catalyst for the revitalization of downtown Bothell, always keeping in our mind our Main Street, which has been the heart of Bothell, and then the park, which people say is kind of the heartbeat of Bothell, because we as a citizenry like to gather together on 4th of July and other times within our city. We like to come together and celebrate our neighbors, celebrate our country, and just enjoy the city that we've all decided to move to and be part of. So thank you for being part of what we're doing here today with the realignment of 522. Certainly Wayne Curve is a huge improvement to our transportation through the city of Bothell, through one of our great golf courses in the city. And we've also seen the new improvements to the Multiway Boulevard, which is also a citizen-driven vision. 56 people came together on the visionary group that decided to find a way that we can connect one of our great assets, which is Pop Keeney, where people gather every Friday night and sometimes Saturday night to come together as a community, celebrate our young men and women playing sports from football to soccer or whatever it may be, and then trying to find a way we could bring them into the heart of Bothell, which is our Main Street, which is where we have 15,000 people gather on the 4th of July to celebrate our country and our independence, which today, considering what's going on in the world, is certainly important to me, and I know to each one of you. We love America, we love our freedom, and we have a heart for people, not just here, for around the world. So I know all of you continue to have in your mind what's going on in Iraq and around the country, or around the world. So these three projects, the realignment of 522, Stage 2A for the Wayne Curve and the Multiway Boulevard, were all put in place for economic development. We want to see downtown revitalized and get investments here. And like Bob said, we as a city have put in $100 million through help with the county and our nation as well from D.C. So thank you, Congressman, for being here. These investments have already returned $200 million in private investment, as Bob said, and we expect another $650 million. And today we're all enjoying stew in this event thanks to Six Oaks sponsorship today. So thank you, Six Oaks, for an amazing stew and bread. I think we should thank them. So we've seen Six Oaks come here. We've seen 104, which is a sister project to them. Eric Campbell loves to invest in the city of Bothell. We've seen that played out many times through Cam West Development, now Toll Development. We see Village at Beardsley Crossing with Steve Cox's involvement there. And we're all excited for the opening of McMinimans. They should be starting within the next week or two. We've been waiting for over a year for that event to occur. They've raised their funds for their project, and we're excited, and Bob has already notified me that they'll be starting within the next week or two. So hopefully within a year, we'll all be there for a ribbon cutting, celebrating what all McMinimans has to offer. And I always like to look out and see Rosemary McAuliffe here, who's our senator, who's been deeply involved in the city of Bothell for many years. And I really appreciate your heart for Bothell, for always advocating for us for years down in Olympia. Thank you to you for your investment in our community and different businesses that you've had here, and continue to get behind what we're doing here. So thank you very much. We all know your husband likes to spend a lot of money on coffee, too, so I regularly see him in the community enjoying time with good people. The stew today is in recognition of the celebration that happened in 1914 here, almost on this very spot. We had Brickyard Road, which if you go over by Wayne Golf Course, you can see the portion of the road. And I remember we used to come from Kenmore and actually take the road down there to the right. Then with the whole realignment, things got changed around. But actually, as some of the redevelopment of 522 was happening, you could see the layer of that brick still there. So that's a part of that road. So in 1914, the citizens came together to celebrate the Good Roads Blowout. So we're somewhat reenacting that today. It used to take 3 hours by steamboat to get from Seattle to here. That commute was reduced to about 55 minutes on the Brickyard Road, and I can make it in about 10. No, not really. Rob, how fast can you make it to Bothell? 15 minutes. So we've had a city leader, Gerhard Erickson, who actually called it the greatest event in the history of our town. And so building roads has certainly been part of what we've been doing in Bothell. At that time, the bricks came from Renton, were laid by Italians and Greeks and the like. Today, we probably had even more mixed nationalities that were laying the roads down. So we're going to head outside in a minute after we hear from a couple other people. I just appreciate each one of you coming today to celebrate this event with us. It's really kicking off after the last 100 years in Bothell for the next 100 years to come with new investments and new community places that we all can celebrate each other and our country together. So I'd like to invite Ted, if you'd like to come forward. Ted Carlson represents the Public Works Board. So Ted, thanks for coming today.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you, Mayor. This is pretty exciting for me, actually, because I grew up in the city of Bothell. Actually went to Bothell High School, and my mom used to own a bookstore right over here at the former Bothell Landing. So it's nice to see the changes here. I live up in the city of Bellingham now, and I haven't been here for quite a while. So very exciting to be here and see everything that Bothell's done. I'm representing the Public Works Board here today, and the primary mission of the board is to provide financing and technical assistance to these types of critical infrastructure projects, and specifically to create a safe, reliable transportation system, protect public health through reliable utilities like water and sewer, and to do that while being good stewards of our environment, and also to help support economic development. And I think the mayor and the city manager spoke very well about the use of public financing to leverage private investment in a community. And when I look at these three projects together, it's hard to imagine a series of projects that really represent the goals of the Public Works Board any better than these do. So a project like this requires many funding partners, and you'll hear from a few others, and TIB and the state, and certainly the city of Bothell. And with that, I'd really like to congratulate the city of Bothell, the representatives that represent this area, on having the foresight and the vision to move forward on a very complex, complicated project, large in scope, but I think it's going to pay real dividends for the years to come. So appreciate being a part of it as the Public Works Board, and congratulate you on a great project.
So I'd like to introduce and ask that Steve Gorcester with the Transportation Improvement Board to come up to make a few remarks. Steve.
Thank you. I'm Steve Gorcester, Director of the Washington State Transportation Improvement Board. We are a state grant agency for local governments, and we're pleased to bring about $8 million of your gas tax money back to Bothell for these projects. It was cool that Ted had that personal connection. I have a personal connection to Bothell too that I'll talk about in a minute. But first of all, you know, when I'm involved in 300 transportation projects right now, so when I come in to the project event, you know, one of the things I look for is something that's unique. When you build a lot of arterials, they all sort of start to look the same. But this one is different. We're converting what has for decades been a crossroads to a downtown. And that is a really exciting transformation. We are, among other things, an economic development program. And our performance program, we do a self-audit of our program every January, and one of the things we do is track for 5 years economic outcomes on finished projects. So your success is our success. We will be tracking that into the future, and hopefully what you're doing here turns infrastructure into the business district that you're looking for. So if I can, if you'll permit me one small personal divergence here. My history in Bothell goes back 50 years. When I was 6 years old, my dad installed his artwork on the side of the Marshall Paris building, the Vital Spirit, hung there for 50 years at the Crossroads. And I'm trying to get Marshall's family to give that piece back to Bothell so it can become part of the downtown. So I hope you'll help do that. It's in storage right now. I'm assured well stored, but hopefully we'll get that back in Bothell at some point in the future. So I just want to present this plaque. We have, as I said, 300 projects. Some of them have trouble getting themselves done. We like to recognize the ones that do get done with these project completion plaques, so if the mayor will come up. This is presented to the City of Bothell, Mayor Joshua Freed, in recognition of our successful partnership on SR522. September 2014, grant funding from the Washington State Transportation Improvement Board. And if the First District legislators will permit me, we somewhat self-servingly put their names on here. Because we receive the revenue from 3 cents of the state gas tax, and let me tell you, there's a lot of pressure on 3 cents of the state gas tax in Olympia. Plenty of other places it could be spent. It's only with the support of legislators that we're able to invest it back in local communities. So we recognize Senator McAuliffe, Representative Makosko, and Representative Stanford on this plaque.
Wonderful. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your leadership as well. As I look at these names on here, I recall Representative Moscoso. We talked about the brick road that's gone in. We've just finished this road, and he's always talking to me about light rail. So we don't ever stop with technology. We're just going to jump to the next phase really quick. Appreciate your vision for Bothell and taking leadership along the way in that regard. So, yeah. Bob?
So our final speaker today before we head outside for the ceremony is Ann Seabot, and she's representing Senator Patty Murray's office. Ann?
First, I just want to thank everyone for being here. Just look around this full room of all these people who support this project, who live in this community, the jobs that are created. The last time I was actually out here personally, the road was under construction. It looks phenomenal. This is great for constituents in the community that we support. This creates jobs in our community. This brings more businesses here, as we were talking about. And so I want to thank everybody for coming. And on behalf of Senator Murray, it's a pleasure to be here. So thank you very much.
So thank you all once again for joining us today, and I now invite you to join us outside for the ribbon cutting.